Hi, welcome to my video tutorial. Today I'm looking at MindGenius Business 6. Now I'm going to look at the basic principles and how to use it. First thing we need to do is look at the ribbon at the top. As you can see from left to right, I'm starting on the Home tab, and the first option we got there, which you can see has been depressed and it shows templates. So if I depress it and press it, it then shows you templates on the right. So if I scroll along to the right now, there's some great templates to get you up and running here. For example, you might be into human resources. Just left click that once and it gives you sub menus, and then we can choose interview checklist. Just left click it once and then it'll bring you up a mind map that you can start working off, and there we go. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to the top, I'm going to depress show templates so it disappears again. So in case you want to start it and you start the program and wonder where it all is, press that button once, it brings it up on the right, or if you hover over, you can see on the right it says here templates and essentials. Just click the little arrow there and it brings it up there as well. But I'm going to left click new blank map. Now you see the map here on the left. I'm going to hold the left button, scroll that down to the middle. Now before you start, you have to decide what kind of map layout you want. Now if I go back up to the ribbon and select map layouts, left click, you can see here I've got various options I can use. So I can actually change the layout of my map depending on what you're doing. But I'm going to leave it on the web effect one. I normally call that the web effect, starting from the middle and working round with a left click. Also at the top here I'll show you quickly on the Home tab in the ribbon, we have your fonts, bold, italic and underline, and obviously your font colours. You can change your shape here, so if I left click shape, you can change your main shape. Also solid fill, so we can change the actual fill of that colour. So let's change that to a bright yellow. Also you can zoom in and out using the option here. So there's some basic options on the first ribbon, but let's make a start. I need to create my first symbol off the new map title, but obviously I need a new title first. So if I actually double tap into that, I can then give that a title. Let's think of a subject we could kind of use. How about, I don't know, absolutely nothing about it. Give me a chance to learn. I've got psychology. Now, click on psychology. That's my main title. I need to create another branch of psychology. Now, I can do that a couple of ways. I can either right click, the one I've highlighted, scroll up to branch and select child. As you can see when I right click, you've got various options you can use. So if you're doing kind of Gantt charts or Outlook, using Outlook to send to Outlook and emails, task cards, you can calculate totals with it, you can add notes, attachments, PDFs, Word, doesn't really matter. Add your own pictures if you want, even add categories, which is a really awesome option I'll show you later. And obviously you can choose to save as a map as current or linked map. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to click psychology, and instead of right clicking and going to branch and selecting child, I'm going to click on it and just click the insert key. There's my first branch. So now I need a subtitle. So why don't I call this History of Psychology, and click off it. Now as you can see I've done a spelling error there. Now if I click back into it, you can see the spelling error comes up underlined. So if I right click it, it then gives me suggestion, the alternative to that word, which is the correct one, psychology spelling. If I select autocorrect, it will automatically correct the spelling for me every time I type it in wrong, save me having to go over that. But for now I'm just going to put psychology. So we have psychology, my first branch. Now let's break down that into subsections. So I've got my main topic there, which is psychology. I'm going to be talking about the history of psychology, so why don't I break the history of psychology down into different sections. Now again I can right click, and I could go to branch, and I could add another child, or if you want you can even add a sibling or a parent. Now I'll tell you what a parent is, I'll show you. If I actually click on it you get the idea. It adds one before the one you've just created, in case you missed anything up. So I'm going to click on it, do a right click, click delete, but I'm not going to choose the child branches, and click yes. So that deletes the one I just did. So I'm back to the history of psychology. So I'm going to click insert. I'm going to tap the insert key. Now I need a sub paragraph of my main paragraph there. Why don't we call this quick back in the history of psychology. I'm going to hit the insert key again. Let's do another subparagraph. How about psychology is a scientific discipline. So there goes my map making a start. So I've got my main title, psychology. I've got my subject, the history of psychology I'm going to talk about. And then I've got the subparagraphs of psychology of philosophy and psychology as a scientific discipline. Now I'm going to click back on psychology as philosophy because I need to add information into there. And what I need to do is add my information on that subject. So with that highlighted, if I go right over to the left, you can see Map Explorer. Now if I click that little arrow, that will then bring up this window. Now I've actually closed that. If you go to the ribbon at the top and choose the Insert tab, left click that, you've got the Notes option, then you can left click and it brings it open straight away here for you. Now if I close that again, go back to Home, so you can access it through Map Explorer or using the Insert tab. Now as I know absolutely nothing about psychology as philosophy, I've taken this quote from a web page which I put the reference there as well. So let's say you're popping in your information there. Now if I close that window with a left click, and you see nothing's come up on the psychology as philosophy, but if I left click off it, you can see that little icon there that now enables me to access that information. So if I left click it twice, it brings it up here on the left, so you can carry on working on it. So I'm just going to close that window. So again, you can do that for the second option. So remember what we need to add, go to the top, click Insert, Add Note, or use a little arrow there, then add your information in here. So let's say you start building off your maps and start working off them and organising them. Now I mentioned something earlier. If we go up to Analyse tab on the ribbon, we've got this little section here. Now a lot of people look at this and go, oh, it's just a bit of colour coding and that, but you actually click on it. It gives you categories that you can use for review, impact, difficulty, and should be a great way for you to visualise and organise your work. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come down to Create Rename Categories, left click. So, not much into brainstorming, so I'm going to highlight that and rename that, and I'm going to call that Essay Planning. Go down here and I can start renaming the categories. So I could rename category 1 as finished, maybe I finished my essay. Rename category 2, why not unfinished? Category 3, do more research if you haven't done it prior. Category 4, even maybe add source. You're getting the idea now. So there's my colour coding. So if I click OK, scroll back up to the left, remember I'm in the Analyse tab on the ribbon, left click, and now you can see at the top of Essay Planning I've changed. I've got finished, unfinished, do more research, add source and so on. So what I can do now is with my map, when I'm looking at it, so now what I can do, if I come to the top here, I like to choose the category dropper. Left click that because it makes you select symbols quicker and add your colour for annotation, for example. So I might have finished. You see hover over, it says finished. If I left click that, see it's depressed, it now highlights. I can now click on the one I want to say that's finished. Depress it, turns it off. Now I might go to my second option there and decide that's not finished. So again, I can either just click on the option here, it brings it up, or I could use the category dropper. So now I know when I go on it that it's unfinished. Just simple way of doing it that could be really useful. You can use the built-in ones as well if you want. For example here, you can add disagree, agree, and so on even high, medium or low. Depends on how you want to work that. But don't underestimate them, that'd be really useful. Also got an option here where you can pick default category. So if I click on it, you can see all the default categories there that you want to choose. Use default category, will automatically choose the default one, and you've got your sort option where you can sort by due date, start date, end date and duration. So let's have a look at our map. Just going to put it in the middle and go back to home. So far so good, I'm quite happy with that. But what I need to do next, I'm going to go to insert. Now you might want to add a bit of clip art to this as well. So let me just close this window here to the right, which is templates and essentials. So I'm going to highlight psychology. Now if I go to the left side, it says Map Explorer, click the little arrow and bring out my options. Now you see at the very bottom you have various options here: Notes Editor, Word Cloud, Categories, Questions and Picture Gallery. Now I could access Picture Gallery there, but if I close the window, on the insert option you also have your gallery pictures there. Left click, it's probably quicker to go there. And then I need to find something on psychology. Now I haven't gone through all them, but let's just say there is nothing on psychology. Let me just double click in here to have a look. I mean, I could put a person down, that could possibly work, but I want a specific picture on psychology. So what you could do, if I close that window, is add your own picture. Now Google Images is pretty good, so I've already downloaded one from Google Images earlier, so I'm going to click on pictures. If I scroll down, I should have a picture on psychology. There we go. And there we go, you can add it into your symbol, just for that visual mapping. So have a look, instead of just writing down paragraph after paragraph, you're actually taking your title, first topic, which you broke down into 2 sections. So you're slowly breaking it down and using visual help to help you organise your map. That picture, by the way, you can actually format that. For example, when you insert tab, if I click edit picture, you can choose where you want the picture. You can have it below, on the left, right. So if I click on the right, click OK, you see it's moved to the right. Click on edit again, and then you can choose exactly where you want it. Also you can choose the size. Bear in mind that I'd leave maintain aspect ratio on, otherwise you start distorting the photo, but have a little play with that yourself. You can even clear the picture off if you decide you don't want it. So there's a few basics so far, but what I'm going to do, go back to the main title, psychology, create another branch off there. So click on psychology, and I'll press the insert key. And I'm going to call this I'll just call that branch psychology. Now by the way, if I hold the left button, you can drag it around where you want. You can even drag it onto other sub paragraphs or topics. See, I've moved that into the front. So this 1 o'clock, always remember 1 o'clock is your first paragraph or first chapter. So I'm going to move that back and put my main one back there, which is the history of psychology. Now click on branch of psychology. Say you're creating a map and you decide you need a mental connection between 2 topics or ideas. Right, when the insert tab, why not click the mental connection tab? Now click it once, you can see there's a little arrows pointing on it. It's like a curved arrow. Now click on the one you want to connect. So if you hold the left button on branch of psychology and drag, then drag it to the one where you have that mental connection to remember, and there you go, and you can see it there connected. And then you can even type in what that connection might be. Really useful putting your ideas together. So there's a basic map to get you up and started. Now I'm just going to go to the top again on insert. So let's click on history of psychology. Hyperlinks and attachments. You can actually add websites to this. For example, say you're doing research and you're doing research on psychology, scientific discipline. Left click the hyperlink button and then you can add a hyperlink there. So as I say, I have no idea about psychology, so I'm just going to put any website in, it's bound to exist. And then I type in their description, and we can put in their research website. All you do is click OK. As you can see here, little icon, if I zoom in for you, you've got the Research Internet Explorer tab. So if I left click that, it should open up that website really quickly. So a great way to link all your research pages or your work. That's one option. Also, you can also edit and remove what links you put on there. Pictures, I've shown you, we can access where we've done with that JPEG there. Let me go back to a new map quickly. I want to show you another option. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a template for this. So if I go over to the right, see a little arrow, I can access it there. And I have a number of templates. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to use human resources. and I'll use the subcategory performance appraisal. Click it once, it should bring up a template for you. Now I'll use this as an example. So I've got performance appraisal questions, and then you've got your questions down here on the right. I'm actually going to change map layout, left click, and I'll give that like a web effect. I prefer that, it works better for me, everyone's different. So now if you see a little plus button, if I click the plus button, you'll see it brings up subcategories beyond roles and outcomes. Click minus, click plus, and you can now see them and access them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to scroll to the top, and I'm going to select format. Now if I left click map styles, now if I hover over, you'll see the colour changing on the levels. So you can change your whole map quickly, and you can even left click browse style templates if you've got any. But I'm going to click edit map style. Now if I just drag this over so you can partly see the map. Now currently core I'm on is your main title, which is my performance appraisal questions. So what I can choose with this is, if I click down, I might just want to change level 1. So level 1 will be these options here, categories. Remember, I click plus, and then you'll be talking about level 2 and so on. So I can change level 1 to specific fonts just for that level. So let's choose Algerian. Now everything at level 1 now, as you can see here on the map on the right, will be in Algerian font. I might want to make the size a bit bigger. I might want to change the colour of the font to red, and you can see it changing here on the right. I can also change the branch shape for that specific level. So the branch shape, I might decide I want all level 1 as a diamond or rhombus. I can change solid lines if I want to dash that connecting to it. I can even change individual colours, or fill type. I might have a vertical gradient, as you can see on the right here, not just a solid colour. Connector I can change as well, and the boundary, this is to highlight specific subjects or topics. So if I click OK, you can see how it's changed all those levels. If I click plus and scroll along to the right, you can see here they haven't changed because I didn't change level 2. Just a quick handy option as well. Also, edit the background. You can choose a picture if you require, or a solid colour rather than white. Numbering useful, 1, 1.1, 1.2, so you know exactly what order your work's in. Auto colour will make each subject stand out a bit better, each topic. As you can see, it's added automatic colours to that to make them stand out. Just click to turn it back off. Got your map layout. I can change it to left to right. I actually prefer the kind of web effect option. And connector type, so you can change what the connectors are connecting to, whether you want squared, angled, and so on. And again, in the format option, you've got all your fonts here. Shapes you can change. I might want to change the middle shape to a round one. Change the solid view. Make that yellow. And you can change the line type, even the connector styles, for example. The arrows that connect in each option you can change bi-directional or depending on what you require. Style, again you can add the boundary. For example, if I click on roles and outcomes, I might want to add a boundary on that so it stands out more. I can actually fill the boundary colour in by using just not too heavy colour, just a bit of a blend there so you can still see the text and everything clearly. Go to analyse. I showed you the options here on the left. Tasks, don't worry about tasks for now, I'll do another video on that at a later date. Export. Now we choose which application we want to export to. We could do it as an image if we want, or Excel, but I'm going to send it as a Word. So if I left click, I'm going to export it to my desktop. Leave it as performance appraisal questions, click save. This window then pops up. You can choose to launch Microsoft Word on completion, so once you've saved and exported it opens up automatically. Use a Word template if you've got one, and you want to use a specific one there, and you see you've got some basic ones there. It takes you straight to your template folder. You can respect MindGenius font style, so if you choose specific fonts and then export those fonts if they exist in Word for you. You can insert an image if you require. include options, and then you can choose what you want to include and what you don't want to include. For example, if you've got clip art, you might want to untick that. You might decide you don't want floating text. You might not want your mental connections. That was only a mental connection to put your map together at the beginning, but you don't want that exported to in a Word document. Notes. I like to leave the notes there, so where your main information is, then follow what it says. Click OK. They should export and open up automatically. Click OK, and there we go. We have your map here on the left, and we have all your information all organised. Click the little arrow, then it will go on to your other subcategories, and then at the bottom here you can see end of document. So as it's read only in Word, click Save As, and then I can choose to resave it because I decided to only export it as read only. But then you can save as a Word document, go through, and then maybe get rid of your images that you don't want at the top there. Click Close. And there's some basics that get you up and running on using it. Just one other thing though, because if you want to compile everything into one file, for example your links or your PDFs, everything you've linked using, remember if I go to Insert, using a hyperlink or attachments for example, you want everything pictures linked from your computer, then on Export you can select the Compress Package button. That will compress everything into a zip file so that you can send it as an email or upload it to your network where it's stored. It could be Dropbox or Cloud, whatever you use. A lot of people tend to use the OneDrive now, which is really useful. It comes part of the Microsoft Office. I tend to use that because it gives you so much free storage. But I hope that was a bit of help to get you up and running. Thanks for watching.